Oh my god. I can't even. Oh my god. Alright, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to tonight's Share League match between Deathbots and Off-Brand Cereal. I believe Off-Brand Cereal is Team Hate Mountain. You know, I casted these guys, I think it was last week, and yeah, had the same stuff coming out for them, so. Alright, the draft links have been given out. Let's see here, is this going yet? Off-Brand Cereal is ready, still waiting on Deathbots to all ready up. They had a fifth member who was a little late getting there, but I think we're all squared away now. But yeah, this map is going to be on Brax's Holdout, so I mean, this is a map where you really want to have strong solo laners, someone like a Thrall, someone like a Zagari, even Alarak. Really been seeing a lot of Alarak recently. Wonder if he'll maybe make an appearance here. So that's strong. It's also, I think it's also important to have good globals, so you can win the point and go to the other one and contest it. And also heroes who can really sit on a point and be very difficult to get off of it, like Rexar, who was just banned out by Deathbots. So, I mean, there's a couple more in that category who are also very, very good. Chen, Gazlo. You know, Chen is extremely good right now. Not just on this map, but just every map. So, Top Drafter is very funny. You know, it's when you put in Warhead Junction, I think it gives you like Garden of Terror or something, but this is supposed to be Brax's Holdout, and it says Warhead Junction, so. Oh, jeez. So, a strong soul laner is first picked up for Deathbots. They grab Thrall, but immediately they grab the Lunara Oriole combo, does Off-Brand Cereal. So, they have their support, they have at least one of their ranged DPSs in mind. Drafted, taken care of. I guess the two of them form Lunarial. But it's a very strong pairing. I mean, Lunara can basically do very sustained, consistent damage. And that gives Ariel just so much energy, I guess it's called, to work with. So far, I mean, Deathbots, they have a very strong advantage in the solo lane, but Off-Brand Cereal, very strong in the 4-man so far. Ariel really wants to be part of a 4-man, 4 or 5-man, just so everyone can group together, and her AoE heals just get maximum value. Johanna picked up for Deathbots, so I don't know how I feel about Johanna on this map. Yeah, she's very good for wave clear and rotations. It's not an awful lot of rotations that go on this map. But that is going to give them blinds for Lunara, so I gotta see it working out. And Johanna's pretty good anyway. But Falstad also picked up. So, I mean, so far, Deathbots, they have a strong soul laner. They have a global who can go help out Thrall if they manage to win the 4-man at the bottom. So, I mean, so far, both teams looking pretty solid so far. How does Warhead Junction feel in terms of balance? Okay, so I mean, on that map, you're picking up warheads like all over the map, and you just kind of drop them. But they get a big power spike at the 14-minute mark, to the point where it's like you drop two to three nukes, it'll just destroy the core. So I mean, it gets to be very snowbally, I think. What's up, Gamer Given? How's it going? So, Brightwing banned out by Off-Brand Cereal. So, yeah, I think they're really trying to limit the support options of Deathbots. They've banned out Malfurion, they've banned out Brightwing, they've picked Ariel. So, I mean, who's really left for Deathbots in terms of support? They could go Lily. They could go Medic. They could be trying to bait him into a Medic pick, but I don't know that... I don't know if they really have enough dive to deal with her. Yeah, I'm sure they'll end up tweaking it. I mean, they're tweaking everything constantly. The one thing I will really hand to Blizzard is they're in things for the long run, and if they don't have something right, they'll overhaul it, they'll tweak it, they'll do it, they'll do what they need to do. So 2 more picks coming up for off-brand cereal. Yeah, I mean, speaking of Blizzard being in things for the long run and tweaking and overhauling things, I mean, the big news, from 2 days ago, I think it was 2 days ago. I mean, Heroes Brawl being announced. No, never mind, it was yesterday. I mean, it just not completely different, but a lot different from what we saw of it that was announced at BlizzCon last year. So, clearly they weren't totally happy with what they had last year, and went to pretty great lengths to just overhaul it. So Lee Ming picked up for off-brand cereal. And Leoric also picked up for them. I think this is a pretty interesting map for Leoric. Even if you kill him, he's still going to hang out. He's still going to give vision. He's still going to come back fairly quickly. It's very hard to get rid of him. On maps like this, Cursed Hollow, I remember back in the day, you'd kill Leoric around a tribute fight, and then boom, he's right back, full health, full mana, and harassing you. And yeah, Medic picked up for Deathbots. I mean, Medic, probably the best healer in the game in terms of just raw healing output, but the danger of that is you get dived. The other team, they realize that you're putting down an incredible amount of healing, and they try to kill you, and they try to kill you aggressively. But I don't see much in terms of dive on the side of off-brand cereal, so it could really end up being problematic. But Gul'dan is going to round out the lineup for Deathbots. You're free to comment. I enjoy plenty of commenting. Real quick, I gotta make sure that's actually Nova and not Zarya that was picked up. So, I mean, just real quick about Top Drafter. It's a little behind in terms of how updated it is. Okay, so I'm being told that actually is Nova. Okay. Interesting. We're seeing Nova here. So I mean, this site, this drafting site, not totally up to date. So I mean, a couple days ago, I saw first pick Nova, and I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting. But it was actually Zarya who was, because Zarya wasn't in the system, they were using Nova as kind of a placeholder. And strangely enough, Zarya had not seen at all in this draft, so interesting. But yeah, both teams all readying up. So let's go back to this draft real quick. So I mean, the one thing I was saying about off-brand cereal that they might not have enough dive to really get on Medic. Well, Nova may very well take care of that. So we'll have to see how that all pans out. But just waiting on one more to ready up. Okay, there we go. Everyone is all ready, so let the game begin. Alright, so we're going to have the Captain Ouroboros on Gul'dan, Grumpy Kitten on Lieutenant Morales, Bellis on Johanna, Mr. Illa? I'm going to go with that. On Falstad, and Billyfish on Thrall. And for off-brand cereal, we have Freezebug on Nova, Double J on Leoric, Mad Buddha on Lunara, You're Done on Oriole, and Alakite on Li Ming. So, I mean, this should be interesting. I really think a lot of this is going to come down to whether or not Nova can straight up murder Morales. Which I think is going to prove to be difficult.
We're about to begin.
You know, she's going to be surrounded by Johanna. Probably Thrall too in the late game. Now, also, Falstad's there to disengage. Oh, wow. So they're saying, I guess there's some kind of bug with Nova. Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. I guess her bribe talent is bugged? So...
Systems online. 10
hopefully
seconds.
all is good.
5,
Hopefully by restart
4,
game,
3,
just meant
2, 1.
unpause it.
Facility online.
The battle begins.
So I'm gonna be curious to see who off-brand cereal has solo lane, or if they're even gonna do that. Looks like they're going to leave Li Ming in the bottom. Meanwhile, Thrall will solo at the top. And I would imagine both teams going to have some degree of rotation. Probably Nova here in the bottom lane. Probably going to rotate. No, I guess they're leaving Nova to solo lane. Oh, okay. It looks like Leoric's going to come down. Give her a hand, which she will definitely need. But I would start to see Falstad rotate up to the top lane from time to time. And that bottom tower is just going to be destroyed. So, I didn't really talk about it in the draft, but I do think the Gul'dan pickup is interesting. Gul'dan, for those who don't know, he doesn't regenerate mana, so he basically has to tap into his own HP to get mana. So if he's paired up with a healer who can just give him tons and tons of healing, so he has tons and tons of mana to work with, he can basically be a monster, but meanwhile Thrall dies in the top lane. But thankfully for Deathbots, they do have Falstad who can fly up at a moment's notice. And at the very least, just soak top. Certainly he's not going to bully anyone out of this, but let's look at the XP. Meanwhile, Leoric is in a lot of trouble. He's not going to make it out. Or is he? Oh, wow. Wow, the poison from Gul'dan, just not quite enough to finish him off. So, I mean, both teams in relatively even. Level 4 was just reached for off-brand cereal, so that's going to give them a momentary advantage. But level 4 about to be picked up for Deathbots as well. And both teams trying to hold down their shrines with solo-ish laners. So Thrall, so far, really being bullied by Lunara and Ariel. But then again, so is Leoric, who actually goes down in the bottom lane. But because he's Leoric, he will BRB. See, I mean, he was killed just seconds ago. He's already back up. So far, I mean, despite this only being Lunara and Ariel in the top, they're all still having some trouble. I mean, his well is gone. Already down to about 25% HP. Just from a few auto attacks from Lunara. So even though the top is struggling, you know, this 1-on-2, that is going to give the bottom lane a massive advantage. It's a 4-on-3 down here, so you can see the 3-man is being very easily bullied out of lane. Uh-oh. Looks like, is that Nova? Yeah. I guess they're back. So, because Falstad flew up, this is now a 2-on-4. Because Medic had to go back for mana. So, we are going to see this bottom lane momentarily taken over by Alfred and Serial. But of course, as a result of Falstad flying top, Deathbots secures top. So far, a very even match. Maybe a slight advantage to Deathbots. What do you mean in some trouble in the bottom lane? Well, Leoric is too. And it looks like Leoric is going to go down again. And Nova in some trouble, but she's going to run away. So, okay, so this is interesting. We were saying at the beginning that covert ops can't be used because it basically causes a permanent slow. Or, sorry, not covert ops, covert mission. And that talent was picked, so I guess Nova picked a talent but can't ever use it? I don't know. So far both teams still content to trade at the, I want to call them shrines instead of Dragonshire, but content to trade out the beacons. But Leoric taking an awful lot of damage. The big condemn comes in from Johanna. And finally, the Fell Flame from Gul'dan is going to finish off Leoric, but it's going to cost him his own life. Medic is completely out of mana, so Johanna is going to fall. Falstad in a lot of trouble as well. And he goes down. So they managed to kill Leoric, but at the expense of 3 others. Definitely not a good trade for Deathbots. And Thrall, because he doesn't have vision of the rest of the team, can't really afford to be too aggressive. But yeah, I think that fight just came down to them, Deathbots taking a fight where they didn't have the numbers advantage. They were able to get a kill, but it ultimately they just couldn't. They couldn't sustain through that. Leoric goes down again. But it's not going to matter because he stalled them long enough to fully cap off their Zerg wave at 100%. So we're going to see Falstad remain in the bottom lane, just going to stay down there for Soph and to harass Leoric a little bit. They did get a decent amount of Zerg in their little pens, so there's a little bit there to push with. Meanwhile, up here in the top lane, a much stronger Zerg wave is threatening the keep wall. I think the keep wall might go down. It's looking like this is going to be. The wall is going to be safe, unlike Lunara, who, after a big sundering by Thrall, ends up going down. So, maybe a bit of an overextension on the part of off-brand Serial. So, I think there's a few. I think, what is this, an Overlord? I don't know. I didn't play StarCraft. But no, I mean, actually a fairly even push despite the red team's Zerg wave being stronger. That push actually favored the blue team. This tower is down, whereas this keep wall is fully intact. So, as is often seen after all the Zerg have been defeated, both teams deciding to pull back and get their camp. Fawcett, though, in some trouble, manages to barrel roll away from the orbital strike. So, good play by Mysterilla on Halstead. Manages to get away from Nova, the bane of every quick match. But of course, this isn't quick match. This is actually a support. So Nova will have a difficult time finding low health targets to pick off, and it actually finds herself picked off by Falstad. Tried to get the snipe, but unable to secure the kill. Ooh. Good Aegis, but unfortunately, Leora just had a sliver of health and was not going to be enough. Unless a big 100% energy heal came down right away, there was pretty much no saving Leora. Meanwhile, it looks like the red team actually being out poisoned. I mean, Gul'dan Medic is proving to be such a devastating combo, but the double leaping strike goes off on Morales. Oh, she uses the medevac just to get away, and is going to. I also don't know if that medevac went far enough. Well, yeah, great use of the medevac to just disengage from that fight, get away from the dive. Yeah, it's. I think people are figuring out. Medevac is pretty much always the way to go with medic. You almost never use it like the traditional way, like to just transport your entire team somewhere. You almost always want to use it just to get away from dying. I mean, the medic has like no mobility. But hold that thought because there's a fight going down here. The Entomb goes down on Gul'dan, but he's going to survive. And Leoric and Lunar are going to go down, unable to secure the kill. But back to the medic, she has almost no mobility and any way to escape dive. So her best tool for that is actually just medevac. I mean, it comes out right away, pretty much. And it keeps her, as long as they don't destroy the ship, she's pretty much safe. And she can just kind of transport herself away from the fight. And, kind of let her team catch up to her and keep her safe. So, big engagement coming down from off-brand Zero. They're down a talent tier, but they managed to scare off the medic. They actually secure a couple kills despite being down a couple levels in a talent tier. And unfortunately, Deathbots just not able to hold on long enough to fully cap their beacons at 100%. So, I mean, Nova actually used her stealth to secure that top point to stop it from charging. So she did that a little before the fight. But Nova is going to go down. That was not Gul'dan who died. That was Nova. This interface is so buggy. Leoric looking like he wants to solo the boss? No. So it's looking like Deathbots looking like they want to regain control over the top, but I don't think they have vision of these two, so they really got to be careful. Especially now they've actually showed up. But the Entomb and the Orbital Strike goes off, but it's all going to be counteracted by the medevac, and Thrall gets in just in time to avoid being poisoned to death. And Medic manages to get her healing beam on him just in time. So we have a 4-on-4 in the top, but yeah, Deathbots, they think they're about to secure the both of these, but Nova actually snuck the bottom one, but The Horrify comes out from Gul'dan. Unfortunately for them, not able to secure a kill. But you know, once again, even though Leoric has been killed, he's still going to be right back in the action before too long. So unfortunately, Johanna not going to be able to cap that bottom one, despite the kill of Nova earlier. Falstad with the Gust, not quite in time to save Johanna.
Slain.
So it's looking like the objective is going to be stalled out for the time being. So even though Deathbots, they got it all the way to 88%. Yeah, they're still looking for that last 12%. So the big engagement on Oriole here, but fortunately not going to be able to finish her off. And I think they're content with that because finally they've secured the 100% charge of their beacon wave. So I think the way this works is the pens alternate, so the blue Zerg were pushing bottom the first time, now they're pushing top. I don't think it matters whether or not one side has a structural advantage. So yeah, I'm not sure what the first stun was, but the Orc is going to end up going down. Crystal Aegis used by Ariel just to save herself, but Falstad flying in from the bottom manages to secure 2 kills. Lunara in some trouble as well, but she's going to use her Dryad Swiftness to get right out of there. So the top keep is down. I don't think there's going to be any threat on core just yet. Maybe some damage. Zerg Wave is almost done with. They have about 12 more seconds before it's a 5-on-3. But Leoric goes down. This might be game. Does Medic have enough mana? I think she does. Oh, Ouroboros needs a heal. And going to get it. So this is a little risky. I'm not sure they're going to be able to pull it off. But the core's at 50%. Thrall goes down. No, they're going to have to back out. Orbital Strike goes down on Gul'dan. I believe Medivac is... Oh, it is up. So Medic is going to Medivac right out of there. May not have been needed, but the cooldown is so low anyway that it doesn't really matter.
Nice work.
So they're unable to secure core, but they did get it down to 30%, so... Meanwhile, I think Off-Brand Serial just going to try and get some camps, try and secure map control. Never mind, they're going for the boss, which I think is a great call. It's 5-on-2. This is pretty much free for them. Oh, but Ariel actually goes down. That could be troubling. Is Gus up? Gus is up, but unfortunately not timed quite right. Ooh. Oh my god. Oh. Big play by Falstad. Wow. So, I mean, the boss got all of them very low. Even though the Gust wasn't in time to just plain blow them off the point and sneak it, he was able to delay for long enough, separate them enough, and just basically finish them off. If that boss was pushing the top lane, that would probably be game, but fortunately for Off-Brand Serial, it is pushing the bottom lane, so... I kind of don't know why Deathbots isn't pushing with it. Maybe we're gonna grab the camp and then push with it, but I mean, this could easily be the keep, but if they don't push with it, if they just let it die, it's not going to get that much better. So Leoric in some trouble, taking some damage. The Aegis comes out. Going to save him for the time being. So Lunara actually didn't die, that was the keep. The game thinks Lunara was a keep, the game is wrong. But Leoric falls. Lunara with the big leaping strike onto believe that. Yeah, I believe that was the medic. But you know what? I think this is going to be game 4%. One. Yeah. Okay. That ends up being the game. So GG. So yeah, so I mean, what I think that came down to is I just don't think there was enough dive to really deal with the medic. Um, you know, and I mean, all credit to Grumpy Kitten, great use of medevac to basically escape any dive that did come her way. So yeah, just really made big plays there. But I mean, she's just really able to keep their whole team alive for so long. Um, yeah, just really helped them sustain so well around the beacons that it just really made a huge difference. I mean, just the healing output from Medic versus Ariel is just insane. I mean, I mean, Medic I just think is like one of the strongest supports in the game. As long as she doesn't get dived, and no deaths for Medic, so you know that's really I think what made the difference in the game. So. Anyway, congratulations to Deathbots. They are victorious. But I think it was a well-played game by both teams. So, anyway, that is going to do it for me for tonight. I thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more of my casts. And I also have a YouTube channel where I will put this VOD up very shortly. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Thanks.